Here we have a new 2026 Ford Escape. This one's a hybrid, comes in the ST line select trim level with all-wheel drive. Space silver metallic is the paint, and then we have the ebony cloth and vinyl interior. Powertrain consists of a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated hybrid 4-cylinder engine, made it to an electronic continuously variable transmission. Front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with the LED daytime running lights and LED fog lights. The running lights don't flash like that. That's just how my camera's picking them up. But I love the overall look of the Escape Hybrid. Really nice, sophisticated look in this ST line select trim level. Down here to these wheels, these are gonna be 19-inch aluminum. Really like that. We get passive keyless entry on the front. Door panel here, power door lock controls. One-touch up and down windows in the front. And then we also get them in the back as well. Power mirror controls, rear window lock. Blind spot monitors there. I'm sorry for whoever's setting off the panic alarm in the background. And then headlamp controls, lift gate, gas cap, manual tilt telescoping steering wheel. And then hit this twice. That's the release for the hood. And then the seat is power with two-way power lumbar support. But I want to give a huge thanks to Ford Lincoln of Franklin for allowing me to review this Escape Hybrid today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But 42 city, 36 highway. And then over here, there's the rear passenger door. I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So as I sit behind myself, there's the space we have. Pretty good, I think, for a vehicle of this caliber. We get seat back pockets on the passenger seat. 2 USB-C charge ports down there. There's a look at the front from back here. And I like that we get the LED lights throughout as well. And then you also have a little hook here if you want to hang a shirt or a pair of pants. Now for the child locks, you can just change that lock or unlock by sticking the key in that little white hole there. Fuel filler. And then as we come around to the back end, we do get LED tail lamps, which is nice. And here's a space behind the second row. We get the top tethers integrated on the back of the seats themselves. And there's your spare tire underneath there. What the heck is going on? And there's a dual exhaust there. Of course, it's smoking because it's freezing outside. Here's a look underneath. And then to the rear passenger seat. If you want to fold that down, just pull here. Pretty easy to do. And then pretty easy to pop it back into place. Lower anchors are right there. And then front passenger seat, manual here. And then here is the glove compartment. Now as we come back around to the front, there's that 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Here with the electric motors. I'm just gonna shut off the blinkers before we hop in the driver's seat. So LEDs on the front and the back is nice. Let's hop in. So nice, which I believe to be ActiveX wrap steering wheel. It's hard to tell with these gloves on. There's the horn. Over here to the radio, this newer infotainment system is really nice, has a nice presence to it, but it's not overwhelming, if that makes sense. So we have our drive modes we can go through here. Normal, eco, sports, slippery with the all-wheel drive, which is really nice. The driver assistance, we can go in here and toggle the traction control, the cruise control, which this one has that optional adaptive cruise. We can turn the lane centering on, set it to normal, all of that there. And then in your apps, you can see you have that wireless CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility. You also get AM, FM, XM radio. So that'll be in this audio tab here. And you can go through your sources to see all of that. And then your settings, general settings include your language. You can change that. And then your units of measurement between temperature, miles, and then your tire pressure. Then you have the map there. You can get that full access with a subscription. Backup cameras there. Guidelines follow you as you turn the steering wheel. And then down below you have your 3-stage heated seats, heated steering wheel, and then you can adjust your climate controls there. Turn the dual zone on or off, or adjust the temperature on the passenger side to get that going. So a pretty easy system to use for the most part. Hazards down there, and then you can use that to put the screen into like a calm status if you want. And then this pulls up the it's almost like a driver assistance shortcut, which is pretty nice. And then your defrost there, and then this pulls up the drive modes as well. You have a shortcut for that. But volume knob, USB-C, USB-A duo, 12 volt. And then the shifter, hit the brake, reverse, neutral, drive. You have that low mode there. Electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage. Automatic brake hold. Bottle holders. Center console cubby space. And there's a look at the back seat from up here. Sunglasses holder. I will say this heated seat will get you toasty. I'm burning up now. And then your lights right in there. And then your vanity mirror. Now back up front, blinkers, high beams, intermittent wipers, one time off, intermittent low, high. You can adjust that intermittent frequency here. Then your rear wiper, intermittent on, off, push back for the rear fluid, pull up for the front. Left side of the steering wheel, turn that cruise on, adjust the gap for the adaptive and the lane keeping system. You can turn that on or off, set your speed, resume, volume down, volume up, voice recognition. And then you have your track list, radio station presets you can toggle, Bluetooth. And then this menu button and these arrows over here help you go through the menu options. So you can pull up fuel economy, the eco coach. And then in my view, you can configure that, but you have tire pressure monitors, oil life, you can see all of that there. Push button start. Finally, here is the key fob with remote start. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2026 Escape Hybrid ST Line Select out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Escape Hybrid, the ST Line Select trim, I like how sporty it feels. You have a few options here. It's not as luxurious as the Platinum by any means, but you do get a lot of the same features. The steering wheel still has that same luxurious feel with how it's wrapped here. Again, it just has more of a sporty aspect to it because it does have the red stitching and all of that. Like the screen, the buttons. I mean, mostly everything's in the screen, but I like how they have the push button start here, the volume knob, all that down below, and it looks clean, it looks nice. And with this hybrid setup, you're getting EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon city, 36 highway, which is pretty impressive, I think, for a vehicle with this much space. this much capability, and it's not a slouch either. You don't feel like you're driving the slowest thing in the world, so I like that about it. And honestly, I like how this moves a bit better compared to the 1.5 3-cylinder that's standard in the Escapes. Not as quick as the 2-liter turbo, but this kind of gets you a bit more power. I think it feels more natural, and you get fantastic fuel economy for the segment. Now, when you come to stopping this, usually the whole vehicle goes quiet, because with the automatic brake hold, basically when you hit the brake, if you let off the brake, the car won't cut back on. It'll just kind of go into that almost an EV mode. So I guess it's kind of like an auto stop, but you can still kind of look at it like an electric vehicle, I think, because it does go silent, which I really like about the vehicle. And it doesn't give you an auto stop feel either. You know, when you have the auto stop going, you let off, you can kind of hear the car start back up. This just kind of comes to life when you give it throttle like a typical hybrid would. But I can't say enough, this is, especially in the normal drive mode, it's super easy to drive, super easy to control. It's just simple. You give it throttle, you hit the brakes, about it. Now I'm going to put it into the eco mode, as I've had it in normal. We're going to see how that kind of changes how this drives. So right now, pretty much still running as an EV. Engine didn't cut back on. And the transition is seamless. Now I would like to see exactly how this thing is running. So we're gonna put into the power flow, and you can see we're electric driving right now. We've been electric driving since I left that curve. As I give it a bit more, it'll, the gas engine will kick on, especially if I give it a bit of throttle from a stop. But as of now, it's still running on the battery itself, and the regenerative braking is helping keep that charged up. Now, again, as I kind of gave it a bit more throttle coming from a stop, it immediately cut the gas engine on. Again, a seamless process here. But if you slowly give it throttle and you just kind of let it ease out of the corner, it'll kind of drive more like an EV if you have enough battery. Now, it's not gonna go forever, but it'll go for a minute. Now, the engine's cut off as I've gone down that incline or that decline, and then not really giving it too much. I'm holding it steady around 42 and still hasn't kicked the gas engine on. And for a hybrid, I think that's pretty impressive, because usually it's only good for braking, but this is doing a really good job driving in the city under very light acceleration. It's not allowing the gas engine to come on. Now, I have had people tell me, well, we had some smart guys ask me one time, why can't you just charge your car and only run on, like, you should never have to charge your car because you're generating energy back to the battery when you hit the brakes. But that only works in practice in certain conditions. You can't get up to speed the same way that you can brake, if that makes sense. So it gives you energy back, but in typical driving, especially if you have to get on the interstate, accelerate hard or whatever, you're not going to be able to just get as much back from regenerative braking as you would from, you know, powering the vehicle, especially if you're having to pull it hard. So Basically, it's if you're rolling downhill, it's good for that. But I'm gonna try to give it a pull. Heck, we'll do it in normal mode. Here we go. So, I mean, it did decent. It really didn't strain the engine at all. So that's impressive. Now, I do want to give one more huge thanks to Ford Lincoln of Franklin for allowing me to test drive this Escape today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information. I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get to the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But for the money, you get a solid vehicle. I mean, it's a hybrid, it's a small SUV. It has a lot of tech here. Heated seats are nice. The lane centering adaptive cruise is great. And it's just really nothing to complain about here, in my opinion. Now, it's not fast, it's not even quick. It's got a little pep in its step, but it's nothing that will overly excite you if you're in the market for something like an Explorer ST or something like that. This is meant to be fuel efficient, it's meant to be practical, and that's what you get here. Great fuel economy. And the ride's relatively comfortable. The road noise is not prevalent at all. It's a solid vehicle. Not just for the Escape lineup, but just for a small SUV in general. It's very capable, especially with the all-wheel drive system. You still get that great fuel economy, and it has a lot to offer. But with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2026 Escape Hybrid ST Line Select.